Welcome back. Well, comedy is one language that South Africans understand, you would agree. Even under the difficult time of apartheid, South Africans always had humour. But the stage of comedy is traditionally a male-dominated sphere. What lies ahead for women comedians? To discuss this, we're joined in studio by Nonto R and Noko, who are both female comedians. Ladies, thank you very much indeed for your time. Appreciate you coming through and discussing this important topic, especially in Women's Month. And I was going to ask you, Nonto, what's it like being a woman in comedy? But on second thought, I would never ask that to a male. I would never ask a man, what's it like being a man in comedy? And I guess it talks to the problem here, whereby a lot of people think of comedians as being male.
Yeah, I think because coming from patriarchal stage, obviously men had better opportunities like us. Because like I remember my aunts were not even allowed to go to school because it was said that they learned to write letters for men. So even now, like if I'm saying I'm going to a show, my parents have to consider how I'm going to travel back home and is that environment safe. But for me, I feel like it's maybe the timing is right now for female comedians because we are very funny and we are very talented and I think we are better storytellers. So for any female who's coming in now, I think it's the best time to come through because there's the likes of Noko and myself and other very good females who create shows, because I think that's the best way to sustain yourself. If you are not only just waiting for someone to call you and say there's a gig, do you want to come and perform, but you create something for yourself so that there's that space where other females can be comfortable to come and work.
Because Noko, in the past, not many female comedians came to the fore. So you'll have this lineup of all males. But now you see the emergence of female comedians and standing their ground. What I'm asking is, are female comedians headlining nowadays?
Female comedians are not just headlining, they are the forerunners. Like myself, currently I'm writing plays. I write stand-up comedy plays. So when you come to my show, it is not just an ordinary stand-up comedy show that you know. It is something that is scripted and it has a concept. Like the one that I'm doing next week, it's a wedding. So I'm getting married to a younger man. The families are fighting because they say, no, this woman is too old, but they are poor. They cannot afford to buy him PlayStation, so they don't have the choice. So female comedians now, they are evolving. They are not just there, but they are in the center. They are making things happen.
What are some of the barriers? What are some of the challenges you come up against?
Oh, the challenges, the sexual harassment from the audience. Even this morning, I had a call from a guy. I had an interview on a radio station during the week. So they asked me to leave numbers for people who want to contact me. So I gave them my other cell phone number, the one that doesn't have WhatsApp. So, So this guy calls me in the morning with a 015 number. So I was thinking, okay, maybe it's a corporate gig. And then he says, no, I heard you on the radio. I want to sleep with you. I want to make you feel good. And I said, what, just go to hell. So that is the things that we deal with.
Is sexual harassment spoken about among female comedians in the open?
There are who says that they've experienced something like that. And I think for me, it's something like a guy, like you can come on and talk about sex and your experience with a woman, and people can laugh about it. But the minute I come out and I share my experience in the same way that the men did, then people are like, they feel like now they own your body, to say, so what about that thing that you were saying on stage? Meanwhile, it's just work. And it doesn't mean that now I want to be sleeping with any man that I meet. So I think the audience, our colleagues, and men in general, they need to be educated that, I can actually be a sexual being without then giving you the right to say you own my body. Or maybe some of our colleagues will maybe offer you a gig, and then just because they offer you a gig in a place where you have to spend the night, then they'll come knocking at your door. and
Tell us, tell us.
Yeah, so I just ignored it and I pretended to be asleep, because like it doesn't mean that if you book me then you own my body, you know, because I have a husband, I have a family, and I have kids, you know.
You want to say?
No, I also wanted to say that, you know, I think maybe because, as you mentioned, that comedy is a male-dominated industry, and we all know a lot of women want a powerful man. So for men, it is easy to get a woman after a gig. So women throw themselves at... So they think that maybe we are also the same. They think that we are also their fans. They think we are their groupies. And maybe when the male audience see the female audience acting like that towards the male comedians, they think that we are also receptive to that. And we are not about that life.
So it goes back to something that might seem small as well, but it talks to the issue, and we were talking about it earlier. Is how female comedians are brought onto the stage. For example, some would say, "Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the pretty, the beautiful, Nonto, the sexy Nonto R." But when you bring up a male,
they talk about their history in the comedy.
He's
the funniest. He's one of the hardest working comedians.
That's an issue.
Yes, it is, and it's something that needs to be addressed because we also work hard. I think also for us to be here right now means that we work extra hard. You know.
When you go on stage, I was listening to an international comedian, and they were saying when they go on stage, female comedian, they don't think about their gender. What they think about is what they want to say and why they want to say it. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it. I always tell people, why must you put labels? Why do you label us? Why do you say, the following comedian is a female? Why are you preparing them for me, the female? Do you think I'm going to splash them with my breast milk? Or maybe I'm PMSing and then I'm going to, don't worry if she rents because she's maybe PMSing. No, guys, we are just comedians. Stand-up comedians.
Do you find that the audience expects a female comedian to talk about sexuality in a more open way than a male?
I think the audience expects generally just someone to be funny, because like it's us who decide what we want to talk about. But I also think that they find it more comfortable to hear a guy talk about his sexuality than for us. Maybe they expect us to talk about cooking and being a mother and kids and school and work. You know, they don't expect us to say the stuff that we say. And for me, I think coming from a life skills background, I find that I'm more comfortable, because before I'm a woman, I'm a human being. And I think I want to be free in a way that I think, and I want to be able to share my thoughts, you know, without people judging me just because of what I say and how I say it.
Okay, I wanted to say that I had issues when I performed in the first stages of my comedy. I wrote a joke about circumcision. So I am pro circumcision, and I know in KZN where my friend is coming from, I know better than to perform that joke, because you know. So I usually find people taking offense when I talk about how I dislike the foreskin, you know. So men would come to me and say, hey, you're not allowed to talk about this. This is a taboo. But then the Department of Health, there's an advert on TV that says sleeping with a man who is not circumcised can cause cervical cancer. Who has the cervix? Is it not me? So it's my issue as well. It's my issue. So I have a right to talk about it.
And you find that when men talk about sex, they talk about us more, like, oh, she did this, or I did that to her, you know, like they talk about boobs, and all these are the things that they don't have. And yet when you are just mentioning something that you are related to, then you don't have a right to say it.
Just finally, as we're just running out of time, but what is the biggest misconception that really gets under your skin with regards to women in comedy?
The fact that people think that they can talk to us about anything anyhow. I have 2 kids. sometimes I walk around with them in the mall, and then somebody will just come and say, "Hey, when are that joke of yours of circumcision? Do you mind?"
Yeah. No, I get you. Ladies, thank you very much indeed for your time and coming through. It's a very important topic, and I think it needs to be spoken out more in order for the audience, to understand what you guys go through. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. And also tonight we are going to be at Carnival City with Sianda Mapumulo. He's doing his one-man show, so he invited us as females to come and work with him. So it just goes to show that there's also support from. It's not like industry, all the males who are negative, but some are very, very supportive.
Thank you very much, ladies. Appreciate it.
Pleasure.
All right. That was Noko and Nonto R, comedians, and you heard the gig guide for the next couple of days. Thank you very much indeed. All right. Are we going to take a break?